Okay, welcome back to part two. Technology. Well, I'm gonna have to put this one on the devil because my phone is stationary and I'm sitting here going over a lesson and then boom, just stop recording. But here's part two. So we were just talking about how God had released the people because they called onto Him. They were in Babylonian captivity and they called upon Him. And Cyrus the Great had sent over, had sent them with a lot of different material goods to help them along their way and to help them prosper and rebuild the temple and their homes when they did reach their land of Judah. Okay, let's go on. Verses 4 and 5 will be our next section. Times of despair. Times of despair. Let me go ahead and get to the text in the Sunday school commentary. Time of despair. They wandered in the wilderness in a solitary way. They found no city to dwell in. Hungry and thirsty, their soul fainted in them. Okay, good. Let's stop right there. That's good. 4 and 5. They wandered in the wilderness in a solitary way. They found no city to dwell in. Hungry and thirsty, their soul fainted in them. Wow. Okay, this reminds me of the 40-year journey that the children of Israel took in the desert. That would have been in 1447 BC, right? I mean, it's the same thing. It's the same. It parallels that. I'm also thinking about the journey into Babylonian exilization. Is that a word? I just make that up. Into exile. That would have been in 586. But like I just said earlier, I think this passage is really talking about their way out. I agree with most theologians on their way out of Babylonian captivity back to Judah. This passage is probably describing that movement there. And they're going back to Judah. Now, you look at this word solitary. It means desert, right? It's synonymous with desert. They wandered in the wilderness in a solitary way, in a desert way. It reminds me of this valley of dry bones, right? No matter where one goes within the valley of dry bones, there's hopelessness all around. Ooh, have you ever been in that place in your life where no matter what happened, no matter what you did, no matter what was going on around you, you felt hopelessness? Yeah, that's a desert type of feeling right there. It's a desert type of situation. How long can one survive in the desert without food and water? That was a question that came to my brain. How long can you survive without food and water? And I looked it up. I went to Mr. Google and looked it up, and it says that one can last up to 10 days if you're using very little energy, or you can die as quick as 2 to 3 days. So these people are wandering around in this desert. Can you imagine the cause of distress to God? Uh-oh, a little technical difficulty there. Can you imagine the cause of distress that would go from that desert to heaven? I mean, if that was my situation, I'd be calling God's name, right? Yeah. So when I bring up this whole thing about how long will you last, it reminds me of watching my grandparents, grandfather, grandmother, and several people, hearing from other people when they've had loved ones pass. It seems like most often there's a period of time where folks stop eating and drinking before they go. I don't know what's up with that, but the Bible, this passage talks about the soul fainted. The soul fainted, meaning death is near, right? So they're without food, they're without water, and the soul is fainting, right? It's like their will to live is diminishing. The body faints, but also the soul faints. The desire to live starts to go away. Okay, and this is what the children of Israel was experiencing right here. And it's just like people, my loved ones that I've seen, when it's like they've had enough, or they know that their time is near. It's like, okay, I'm not eating nothing, I don't want to drink nothing, and it's like, I'm ready. As strong Christians, they'll say things like, I'm ready, I'm tired, I'm ready to see Jesus. Your soul fainted. What I see here is also, let's go on to verse 6 through 9. Verses 6 through 9. And this passage is called a time of deliverance. A time of deliverance. 6 through 9. Then they cried unto the Lord in their trouble, and he delivered them out of their distresses. And he led them forth by the right way, that they might go to a city of habitation. Okay. Now, brothers and sisters, this is a pivotal point for deliverance, right? It says, then they cried unto the Lord. See, this is how you go into deliverance. You must cry